All right, guys. Hey, how are you? This is for the week of January 11th through the 15th. These are the practice problems for this week, which include area of triangles, trapezoids, kites, other quadrilaterals. So if you haven't yet printed off these practice problems, I want you to go ahead and do that. Stop the video, go ahead and print them off. I would love for you to try the problems on your own and then come back and check your answers, or just follow along with me. So hopefully all of you have a good calculator at this point. And so let's get started. So the way to find the area of a triangle is by using the formula. It's half the base times the height, or another way to think about that is just multiply the base times the height and then divide the answer by 2. Now, one thing that's important, so look at letter A, you have numbers everywhere. How do we know what the base and the height are? Well, you have to have a 90-degree angle. You have to have two lines, two sides that form a 90-degree angle, and those two sides that form a 90-degree angle are your base and height. So if without looking at this line that was added, none of these two lines come together to form 90-degree angles. So that's why this dotted line is here. This little box right here shows you that's a 90-degree angle. And so that indicates that the height of this triangle is 4 and the base is 12, because that line, those two lines form that 90-degree angle. So we're going to multiply 12 times 4 and divide by 2. So 12 times 4 is 48, and half of 48 is 24. And 4 units times 12 units divided by 2 is 24 units squared. That's why area is always given as a squared unit. All right, here, this is already a 90-degree angle because it's a right triangle. So we're simply going to multiply 7 times 6 and divide by 2. So 7 times 6 is 42, and half of 42 is 21 inches squared. All right, now the whole length of this triangle is 4 plus 4 is 8, right? So this whole triangle, you can think of this as two right triangles, which kind of it is, back to back, two right triangles back to back, or one big triangle with a base of 8. So we're going to do 8 times 8, and then we're going to divide it by 2 because it is a triangle. So half of 64 is 32, and our units are centimeters squared. So here we have, this is a trapezoid. The definition of a trapezoid is a four-sided figure, a quadrilateral that has only one pair of parallel sides. So do you see the top and the bottom are parallel? The two sides are not parallel. They will meet eventually if we extend them. So a trapezoid is basically a quadrilateral that has one pair of parallel sides. However, they want us to think of this really as a rectangle in the middle and two triangles, two right triangles. Do you see that? So we're going to find the area of the triangle, or excuse me, the rectangle. We're going to find the area of the two triangles, and then to get the area of the whole figure, we're going to add up all of those areas. So so if you look right here, this is 9 inches, right? Well, that means if this is 9 inches, that means this right here is 9 inches. But I see 22, correct? Well, 22 is the length of the whole, wait, what? I did not say that. Silly thing. Sorry, guys. All right, so anyway, so if that section is 9, that tells us the length of both sides of our triangles, right? So first of all, we're going to subtract 9 from 22. So 22 minus 9 is 13, but there's two right triangles, right? So we're going to have to divide up that 13 divided by 2. and I got 6.5, which means this is 6.5 and this one is 6.5. So now if we add 9 plus 6.5 and 6.5, that's where we would get 22 inches, okay? All right, so let's find the area of this right triangle. If this length right here is 5, that means this length right here is 5. So here's our right angle right here, correct? So we're gonna use a base of 6.5 and a height of 5. So we're gonna multiply 6.5 times 5 and half it. So 6.5 times 5 divided by 2 is 16.25 inches squared. Well, this one is also going to be 16.25 inches squared. And then we have the rectangle in the middle, which is a 9 by 5. A 9 by 5 is 45 inches squared. And last thing we do is add up 16.25 plus 16.25 plus 45. Add up all that. And let's just do it in our calculator. 45, and we get 77.5 inches squared is the area of the whole trapezoid. Awesome. Number 3, here we have another trapezoid, and it's letting us know that these two sides are equal. So we're going to assume, I can't draw a straight line, that these two right triangles are the same. They have the same base, which is 3, and the same height of 7. So that means if this is 7, the whole length of this is 13, but really we don't even need that, do we? All right, so here we have, basically this is a square in the middle because the dimensions are 7 by 7. So what's the area of our square? 7 times 7 is 49 feet squared. And then we have 7 times 3 is 21. Now, if we only had one triangle, we would half that. But since we have 2 of them, we would double the area, which means basically the area of both triangles put together is 21, right? The area of each of them individually is 10.5. But like I said, since there's 2 of them, we can just think, okay, well, that means the area of both is 21. So we're going to add 49 feet squared by 21 feet squared, and we get 1070 feet squared. All right, that's our trapezoid, and we decomposed it into a rectangle, actually a square, and 2 triangles. So here we have some kites down here at the bottom. So look at these kites. Basically, these are made of 4 right triangles. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the thing about this one is that all of these triangles are congruent. They're all the same size. Here we have a pair on the top that are the same and a pair on the bottom that are the same. So we're going to find the area of one of these triangles. So the dimensions, so since this is our right angle right here, we're going to use 3 and 1. So we just would multiply 3 times 1 and divide by 2. So half of 3 is 1.5 meters squared. So each of these triangles is 1.5 meters squared in area. And how many are there? There are 4 of them. So 5 times 4 is 20, carry the 2, 4 plus 2 is 6, and there's one number behind the decimal. So the area of this whole kite is 6 meters squared. All right, let's look at this one up here. The first 2, the top 2 have dimensions of 1 by 2. Well, 1 by 2, 1 times 2 is 2, and half of 2 is 1. So each of these has an area of 1 meter squared, 1 meter squared. And then down here we have a 5 by 2. Well, 5 times 2 is 10. Half of 10 is 5. So these are both 5 meters squared. So 5 plus 5 is 10, 11, 12 meters squared. That's the area of the bottom kite or diamond, quadrilateral, however you want to label it. All right, look at this thing. What is this? Stop sign. It's an octagon, right? So how can we find the area of this octagon? By using triangles or rectangles. Well, if I do this right here, that gives me a triangle. Well, if I just keep on going, how many triangles could I make? Well, if I have 8 sides, I should have 8 triangles, correct? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 triangles. So let's keep that in mind. So let's just look at triangle number 6. So the height, they gave us a straight line, which makes a 90-degree angle down here. So they gave us a height of 9.24. That should be a 9. My pen hates 9s. And I'm going to multiply it by the base. The base of each of these triangles is 7.65. And now I'm going to divide that by 2. So 9, let me get rid of that, 9.24 times 7.65 equals, divided by 2, is 35.343 inches squared. And then, like I said, how many triangles do we have? We have 8 triangles. So 8 times 3 is 24, carry the 2. 8 times 4 is 32, 33, 34. 24, 25, 26, 27, 42. And 24 plus 4 is 28. And then we have 1, 2, 3 numbers behind the decimal. So 1, 2, 3 numbers behind the decimal. And we get 282 and 744 thousandths. 744 thousandths. I had to think about that for a second. Awesome. All right, number 6. We could do one of 2 things. We could make a rectangle here. Or if we don't like that, we could make a really long rectangle. We could do this thing right here, right? Doesn't matter, but either way, we're going to get a good answer. So I'll do it this way. You guys try it the other way. Make sure we get the same answer. All right, so think about the dimensions of this long rectangle. Well, how long is this whole wall right here? 5 plus 6 is 11. So we have a 3 by 11 rectangle. 3 times 11 is 33 centimeters squared. And then what are the dimensions of this? Well, it's not 10 anymore, is it? No, because we took off 3 centimeters, so we're going to use 7. So 6 times 7 is 42 centimeters squared. So how do we get the area of the whole thing? We add 42 and 33, and we get 75 centimeters squared for the whole polygon. All right. Okay, so now these look a little bit more complicated, but let's just think of them as triangles and rectangles, okay? So basically we have the area, we have a square over here. So the first question is, what is the area of this square? So to find the area of a square is just side squared, or side times side, or length times width, or base times height. Anyway, our 2 dimensions are 10 by 10. So the area of the whole square is 100 inches squared. So now we have one triangle here. Well, the triangle has a height of 10 and a base of, I'm sorry, 5. I said 10, but I meant 5. And then a base of 10. So the area of this triangle is half of 50, right? The area of a triangle is half of 50, which is 25 inches squared. How many triangles could we cut out of this square? Well, we could finish what was started here. There we go. We have a total of 4 squares. No, 4 triangles. I need to pay attention to what I'm saying. A total of 4 triangles. Number 8, find the area of this figure to the right. So what do we have here? We have 1 triangle, 2 triangles, and a rectangle. So let's find the area of the rectangle. It's a 7 times 4, 7 by 4. So 7 times 4 is 28 inches squared. Let's do this triangle right here. The dimensions are 6 by 7. So 6 times 7 is 42. Divided by 2 is 21. 21 inches squared. And then this dimension of this triangle is a 5 by what? 5 by 4. So 4 times 5 is 20. And half of 20 is 10. So this is 10 inches squared. So finally, we're going to add 28, 21, and 10. And we get 59 squared inches. Awesome. All right, here we have a trapezoid, or we could think of it as a rectangle with 2 congruent triangles, right? So guys, this is a tricky one. This is not going to be, so basically the whole length of this is 20, but when we think about this triangle, it has to match 4 right there, doesn't it? Which means when we find the area of the rectangle, we're not using 20, are we? We're using 16. So this rectangle in the center, we're using 16 by 15. Well, 16, I'm using my calculator, 16, oh, my lights went out. My solar calculator didn't work when the lights go out. 16 times 15 is 240. All right, feet squared. And then our 2 triangles has a 15 by 4, 15 by 4. So 15 times 4 is 60. So for 1 triangle, I would have that. But since we have 2 triangles, we can keep 60 in our brains. So we're going to do 240 plus 60 for both triangles. And we get 300 feet squared. So find the area. How does decomposing the shape help you find the area? Well, it helps us find the area by using our formulas for triangles and rectangles, right? All right, look at these crazy figures. Oh, this is the last one. All right, so how can we decompose this? How is this going to help us? All right, we could do this several ways, but I see a triangle right here. Do you see that? And then I see, if I make a line here, I can make a long rectangle, this long rectangle, and then I have another triangle right here. Now we got to make sure we use the right dimensions for each of those figures. So the dimensions for this triangle right here are, we have, what is this, 15, it tells us right here. And then all the way across is 19. But this section right here is 4, right? That's what this says. So 19 minus 4 gives us this section, which is 15. So this is a 15 times by 15. So 15 times 15 is 225, but since it's a triangle, we half it. So this area is 112.5. All right, let's look at this rectangle right here. This rectangle, the whole length is 29, but it tells us that this wall right here is 25. So this is a 25 times 4. Well, I know that 4 quarters makes $1. So I know that 25 times 4 is 100. So this is 100 feet squared. Wow, this is a big figure, isn't it? And then finally, we have this triangle. So remember, we're looking for that 90-degree angle. Well, here it is. So we have a 4 by, what is this? Well, since this is 25 and the whole length is 29, that means that this is 4. So we have a 4 by 4. So 4 times 4 is 16. And half of 16, of course, is 8. So finally, for the whole area, we're going to add 112.5, whoops, plus 100. Plus, make sure you line up those decimals, and then we have an 8, 8.0. bring down our 5, bring down our decimal point. 8 plus 2 is 10. So the area of the whole thing is 220.5 feet squared. Awesome. Look at number 10. We are simply going to do this right here, and we just created a triangle and a rectangle. So we need a 90-degree angle. So we want to know what is the height from here up, right? Well, the whole thing is 7, and this section is 5. That means the height of my rectangle is 2. So we have a 6 by 2 triangle, 6 by 2. So 6 times 2 is 12, and half of 12 is 6. So the area of the whole thing is 6 inches squared. And then this rectangle down here is 5 times 4. So 5 times 4 is 20. So finally, our answer to the whole, our area for the whole figure is 26 squared inches. Wow, that was a lot, you guys. But just think of how can I turn this figure into triangles, rectangles, squares, things that we're familiar with, okay? All right, so hopefully you guys did well. Make sure you join me for our Zoom meeting, which this week is Wednesday at 10. So if you're watching this on Thursday, hopefully you showed up yesterday. And then on Friday, make sure you do your Delta Math. Make sure you're doing all of your assignments every day. As you go through the lessons, make sure you're taking notes. If you see a problem worked out, you need to be writing it down. You need to be working along with the examples as you're going through the lessons. You can't learn math by watching other people do it. You have to do it yourself. Okay, guys? All right, if you need me, reach out to me and I'll get back to you. Have a great day.